Hi everyone, welcome back for the second part of the tutorial. We are now going to be using a different stitch called a half double crochet. Now I tend to use the US terms for crochet stitches. There are differences between the UK and US terms, but generally I find most patterns tend to use the US terms, so that's what I'm going to stick with. So we are going to use US terms, and I'm going to show you a half double crochet, which, just so that you know, in the UK term it's a half treble crochet, but we are going to use a US. So really straightforward, and all we're going to do is to take the yarn. We are going to work into the second chain from the hook. So what that means is we always ignore the chain that's on the hook here and look for the V's. So as you can see here, you might need to zoom in a little bit. You've got a V there, so that's the first chain from the hook, and you've got the second one here. So we are going to be working into this chain. If you've looked at any other videos for this little beanie, you might see them referring to the back bump, the back loop, but I do actually think that's quite confusing, especially if you're a beginner. So I'm going to make this really straightforward, and we're going to just work into the chain. So we're not using the hook, the chain that's on the hook. We're not using the first chain, we are going to use the second chain. So I hope that's clear. So all you need to do is to wrap your yarn around your hook, and I tend to pull the yarn down a little bit, and then you're going to insert your hook into that second chain. Push your hook through, grab your yarn, pull through. You can see you've got 3 loops on the hook. Grab your yarn again, and we're going to pull through all 3 loops on the hook, and that's your first stitch. What I always do here, again, just because it's more straightforward when you're coming back around, is I'm going to insert my stitch marker into that chain. It may seem really obvious now, but it can get a little bit confusing if you're new to it. So it's just that little loop underneath the hook here. I'm just going to click that in. Okay, so that's your first half double crochet. We're going to do that stitch all the way along that chain. So again, yarn over, pull the yarn down a little bit. Now we're going into the second chain here, so that will be the third one along the hook, but just use the next chain. You don't need to count it. Just push it through, grab the yarn and put it up. So you've got 3 loops on the hook. Grab the yarn again and pull through all 3 loops, and you've made your second there. We're going to do that all the way along. So yarn over, pull the yarn down, go into the next chain, push your hook through, grab the yarn, pull it through, so you have 3 loops on the hook, grab the yarn and pull it through again. Okay, same again, yarn over, pull the yarn down, we're going into the next chain along, push your hook through, grab your yarn, pull through, you've got 3 loops on the hook, yarn over and pull all the way through. Now in the first video I did mention about tension, so if you're pulling your yarn too tight, what you're going to find is that you can't get that hook back through those 3 loops. So that's just a little signal to you to know to just lighten up a little bit on the tension. You don't need it to be too tight. So it's easier if you're nice and relaxed. But when you're first starting out, it does take a little bit of practice. But once you've got it, it's very straightforward. So again, yarn over. And we're going into the next chain along, grab the yarn, pull through, you've got 3 loops on the hook, yarn over and pull through all 3. Yarn over, go into the next chain, grab the yarn, pull through, so you've got 3 loops on the hook, yarn over and pull through. I'll do that a few more times with you. So yarn over. So when I say yarn over, bring the yarn from the back to the front. Slightly pull it down. Go into the next chain. Push it through, grab the yarn, pull through, you've got 3 loops on the hook, yarn over again and pull through all 3. Yarn over, back to front, like that. Pull the yarn down a little bit. Get the next chain along. Grab the yarn, pull through. So you've got 3 loops on the hook, grab your yarn and pull all the way through. So you can see you've got a nice little pattern emerging here, and you've got your stitch marker showing you where you first started. So we're going to do that all the way to the end, and then I will come back and join you just before we get to the very end.